Oh, hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of First Canada Live. It's our season finale, and it's a special one because it's our championship celebration show. We got everything happening today. We got two of the biggest Canadian success stories, not just of this season, but of all time at the championship here. So it's going to be a great time. But to get us started on First Canada Live, I'm your host, Karthik Canadian Sabapathy. And as Canadians, it is very important to recognize the land of which we are a part. As we gather for this meeting, physically dispersed and virtually constructed, let us take a moment to reflect upon the meaning of place, and in doing so, recognize the various traditional lands on which we celebrate today. We acknowledge the elders and youth, past, present, and emerging, of all the land on which we work and live. We honor the ancestral spirits with gratitude and respect. We acknowledge this land out of respect for the Indigenous nations who have cared for Turtle Island, also called North America. The Indigenous people have been gifted the role of caretakers of this land before the arrival of settler peoples until today. But most importantly, we remember the history of these lands and people that have been tainted by poor treatment and a lack of friendship with the First Nations who called Canada home before it was given this name. This history is something that everyone is affected by. We are all treaty people in Canada. We all have a shared history to reflect on, and each of us is affected by this history in different ways. Our past defines our present, but if we move forward as friends and allies, it does not define our future. All right, folks. Well, to get things started, I would like to invite our Youth Council host to come on out. It is Sally from Team 7659 HNMCS Robotics from Mississauga and a member of the First Canada Youth Council. Hi, Sally. How's it going?
Good. How are you, Karthik?
Good. Sally, I heard you have some exciting news. I saw some exciting news on social media yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, I'm embarrassing you, putting you on the spot right now. That's what I do.
Don't worry. But yeah, I'm going to McGill this fall, actually. Very excited.
Congratulations. That's going to be super exciting. Now, was that a hard choice for you?
Oh, it definitely was. I had like last minute decisions. So I practically had about 3 days to decide which of the options I was not going to go to. So.
Oh, wow. Does McGill have like our early deadline, I guess? Or
No, they gave me about a week, but see,
that's fast.
Yeah, but then see, they gave it to me 3 days before another program was due. So I had to decide if I should have given up that program or not. So it was a tough decision.
But you're happy?
I'm happy. Yeah, no regrets.
That's what matters. You're gonna have a blast at McGill, and guess what? There's a bunch of first in the area, so there's ways to stay involved. But when you get to live in Montreal, like downtown Montreal, that is going to be so much fun, Sally. I'm actually like supremely jealous of you at this point.
I'm really excited.
Congratulations is, I guess, where we should start. So, Sally, on tonight's show, we have a lot of fun stuff happening. We got some amazing guests. We're going to be doing a recap of the first championship and some interviews with some of the top performing Canadian teams. I am very excited. Also, Sally, we have a special secret guest here today. This is Brutus the Beaver. And he is very excited because he heard his favorite team was going to be on the show, Beaverworks. So Brutus says, I have to be on the show if Beaverworks is going to be on the show. So I said, okay, Brutus, you can come on the show. So,
oh my goodness. Is that
actually Sally?
Is that actually the actual beaver from Beaverworks?
No, it's he's just a fan. He's just a fan. He's not the actual beaver. They have the actual, he's just a fan. He's just like, just like I'm a Leafs fan and I'm like got the Leafs game over in the corner. He's just here. He was hoping to get a selfie with Beaverworks or a screenshot, maybe. He's very
love it.
Brutus is excited for that. But that's right. We have our 2023 first champion, Beaverworks is going to be on, and also our 2023 first Impact Award finalist, Team 6865 Manitoulin Meadow is going to be here. So that's going to be really exciting. Sally, it is that time of year where it's the school year is almost done. So it's like, yay, it's almost done, but it's like there's a lot happening, university decisions and all that such, and burnout can be a real factor. And I think you're here to talk to us a little bit about that with the Youth Council Wellness Moment.
Oh yeah, so burnout, like you mentioned, it's so tough. Like definitely senioritis is hitting me really hard. But basically burnout, like I've just been really exhausted for the past few weeks. There's definitely like a lack of motivation and just interest in a lot of things I used to be interested in. And I feel like on top of that, I had the end of the FRC season. And so I'm a little bit sad about that. But I wanted to share some tips about how to cope with burnout. So I actually looked online and some useful tips for first thing is to first recognize that you have a burnout, you're experiencing a burnout. And then the next steps you would do is to reverse it and then start to build resilience. So some ways to prevent or recover from a student burnout is to learn to say no to things, because if you're like always like drilling yourself to work hard, it's hard to keep up that amount of energy. So just learning how to say no, and instead just following a daily routine and learning to prioritize your health. And then once you've recovered, it's important to build resilience to prevent a burnout from happening again. So it's important to set reasonable goals, know your limits, and make time for yourself, for sure.
I think that's some really good advice. And I think the hardest part with burnout is recognizing that it's happening, because you just start to blame yourself or beat yourself up. It's like, oh, I didn't do that well on the test. Oh, it's my fault. I messed. It's like it is and it isn't, but like it's because there's compounding factors and you're burnt out and you can really, really feel it. I think it happens during robot season a lot. I think actually like right before competition season starts, because you have like competition season is almost like the reward, but before you get to that reward, it's like the finish line of a marathon. Like as you're getting to the finish line of a race, you're just like, I can't do this anymore or whatever. So that's a
Yeah,
really important one. So thanks
that's
for
really
sharing that.
true. That's really true that it's like a marathon. It's not a short race, and there's a lot of effort and energy that goes into it. But there's a good reward at the end.
Absolutely, absolutely. And senioritis is definitely a thing. I remember distinctly in my last year of high school. It was just like went to Worlds, and after that was done, it's like, well, what am I doing? Like, robot season is over, and like I've already accepted to schools. Like, what am I doing? And the weather is nice, like
Mhm.
especially like when like May starts. Like our school used to have a big May Day celebration, and it was just like, okay, well, we're just gonna like chill now. And yeah, it's like really want to go to class, and so it's just
Yeah.
like you got to finish strong though. You got to finish strong.
Yep. With the conditional offers from universities too, you gotta keep it up.
And remember, because those are conditional offers. I one of well, I don't want to embarrass this person, but someone I know had a conditional offer to Waterloo and they lost it. They their marks dropped that much, and they had a conditional offer to Western and their marks dropped that much, and they lost it. So it can happen. So just it's got to be really bad for it to happen. Like folks, don't panic, It's gonna be okay, but it can happen. But
Perfect.
enough on senioritis. Some news updates, folks. This is normally where I tell you what's the schedule for First Canada Live, but folks, this is the last episode of the season. The season is wrapping up. So the next episode will be in September, sometime after Labor Day, probably on a Tuesday. Stay tuned to social media. We'll be giving you all the updates on that. The Ontario team Slack is still out there. If you want to join, it's a great place to collaborate, to get information from other teams, off-season planning. That's jump on into the link that's been dropped in the chat. Sally, you are now a First Canada alum. Your season is over. You graduated the program. Have you joined the First Canada Alumni LinkedIn group?
Yes, I have.
There
I've
you
actually,
go.
yeah, I don't really want to be an alumni anymore though. I still want to stay a first student, but
Yep.
it's still so great to be an alumni and part of that amazing group.
Well, it's very cool. But guess what, Sally? You're like in that little hybrid zone right now where you're an alum, but you get to do some student things to the very end. A couple student things coming up. The First Canada STEMathon Girls and Allies is happening May 27th to May 28th. If you're interested in signing up, that link is in chat. I know Sally will be helping out at that event. And then, Sally, I think you're the one who could sell this next one the best. But the First Canada Youth Summit is happening in June. Do you want to tell the audience a little bit about what that's about?
Yeah, so the Youth Summit is a day-long activity where all the first students from across the province come to, I think it's in King City, right, this year?
Yep, at the
King
Kingbridge
City.
Center.
You get to network with people, you get to meet so many cool alumni and like professionals in different fields. I remember last year we did this really fun design challenge, and I still remember it because our presentation, it was quite funny, and other people's presentations were very entertaining too. So I remember doing the design challenge, and I think just the best part was just getting to meet with people.
Yeah,
So definitely
it's a
sign
lot
up.
of fun. Are you signed up already, Sally?
Oh, of course. And I've been going around telling everyone else to sign up.
Nice, nice. Did you get some members of your team signed up as well?
Yes, for sure.
Sweet. That's the best. It's going to be a great time. That's right. The First Canada Youth Summit link is in chat. Follow that there to get all the information, and it'll be a good time. All right, folks, we don't want to waste any time. We're going to come back with our discussion of what happened at the first championship. But before we do that, we're going to take a look at a video from one of our sponsors, Schneider Electric.
The world is full of people telling you who to believe they are. Well, we thought we'd tell you who we're not. Let's start here. We're not in shipping. We don't make lifts. Seriously, no lifts. We do this. We're good at this. And we make all of these. And even though you'll find us here and here, we don't make energy. We make you save it. And you'll be saving the environment too. Are we an internet company? Well, we connect and power just about everything around you, helping machines talk to each other and to you, making your world more personal. We're seeking out the big questions and answering them honestly. Like, how can we make the most of our energy and resources? Or can we make access to energy and digital basic human rights? We're real people, employees, developers, partners, investors, and inventors, all passionate about doing what's right. We're open. Humans of all sorts from all over, learning from each other and about each other. We're not here to save the world. It'll go on with or without us. We're here to help power and connect what you do every day, to ensure life is on everywhere, for everyone, at every moment.
All right, we're back. So 2 weeks ago, I can't believe it's 2 weeks ago already, the first championship happened in Houston, Texas. It was a very exciting event. So Sally, did you get to watch any of the webcast? Were you watching, following along a little bit?
Yeah, I tried to watch it as best as I could. I got to watch a few matches, but definitely every single one I got to watch was so crazy and so exciting.
So it was just a wild event. The scoring was through the roof. Not only were we consistently seeing full grids, we were seeing over full grids where teams, just because they changed the rules that you could just keep scoring after the grid was full. And so it was really amazing. And boy, did the Canadian teams put on a show. So I wanted to dive into, I'm a stats person, so let's take a look at the performance of some of our Canadian teams right here. So put up a little chart on there. Here's all the various Canadian teams. So let's just take a look at the, I want to talk through some of these teams here. I want to talk about 1325 first. So they were on the first pick of Alliance number 3 in their division. They were one of the top scoring robots in their division, 80th best scorer at the championship, averaging about 9 game pieces per match. And you might be like, oh, well, they got knocked out in 5th place in their division. They did, but get this, Sally. Both matches they lost in the double elimination tournament, they lost by 1 point.
No.
You just one more object, one more cube in either of those matches. They could have been on ice. They could have been a world champion, like some of the other Canadian teams that we saw. So that was hard, you know, and like they were also paired with Team 4907, the Thunder Stamps, another Canadian team. They saw a lot of each other on the science division at the provincial championship. But it's just wild to see that, like, 1 point, like it's, you know, and for all our teams who are watching out there, there's a tendency to kind of try and judge yourselves based on your outcomes. It's like, oh, well, we finished 5th place and that's who we are. But outcomes at first are just like, it's just like an inch here, an inch there, or whatever. And so it could be like, so it's so important to not judge yourself based on the outcomes, but judge yourself on the process and how you felt going through it. And did your team reach your goals? Did the robot play as well as it could have? It's not about, oh, did we necessarily win the event or whatever. And so I just wanted to give a shout out to 1325 because, like, it was, I had a chance, I rewatched some of those videos. I was like, oh my goodness, just like one extra object could have been scored. It can flip it, you know? And so we saw some amazing things when it came to the rankings. Team 2056 seated number 1 in their division. No surprise there. Highest scoring robot in the world at the championship, 13 game pieces a match. It was wild. Also high seeded Canadian team, Team 1114 Symbotic seeded number 2 in their division. They had a wildly improved performance over the provincial championship. It looked like an old school 1114 robot. It was wild to see them up there at the top. We're going to be showing one of their matches in a bit because it was It was wild. We'll tell their story in just a second. Um, Other Canadian teams that did really well in the rankings, Team 4920, the Bell River Boltheads, they were in the top 8 for most of the time. Unfortunately, they had like some really bad luck in one of their qual matches, accidentally tipped over another robot, which hurt them in the rankings. If that tip didn't happen, they would have been a captain, you know? So it's just like, again, one thing that can happen. It just kind of filters out there. Team 4946, the Alpha Dogs, seated high in their division, ended up being the second pick of Alliance number 1, ended up being division finalists. So they were that close to Einstein. It was another really close one. Alt F4, team 7558, another favorite up here, ended up as the Alliance 7 captain. Really impressive performance, especially for their first time at the championship. And then if we just look at some of the highest scoring Canadian teams, we talked about 1114, 2056, 1325. Team 3683, Team Dave, they were just scoring the way they had been all season long in a really tough division. Milstein, along with Team 4039, they were in that tough division as well. Team Dave ended up finishing 4th in their division, which was a nice sort of result. And then we take a look at where some of our teams finished. So Team 610, 1114, 4946, all division finalists. And then Beaverworks, world champions. We're going to be talking about them. I want to save it. Brutus, don't get so excited. Calm down. They're coming out. Don't worry, Brutus. But it was just great performances on the field by the Canadian teams. Sally, anything from all this kind of really strike you, or was there a team you were really looking forward to watching? In Houston.
Oh, of course, OP Robotics was one of the teams I was looking forward to. I think that's a team everyone was looking forward to, considering they were number 1 in the world.
Yep.
But what really amazes me is I've seen a lot of those teams listed on the spreadsheet, and I saw them at like provincials, and I saw them at like individual district events, and all those teams were placing like number 1, top 10, and just when you mentioned that Inverse Paradox was top, like 80th rank, I was like, how are they 80th? I've seen them play and they were insane.
No.
So just
let me just preface that, Sally. That's 80th out of 620. So not 80th in their division, but 80th of everyone, you know? So
okay.
So it's still
just to know that like they're
79 teams better than that robot, right?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense in my head, but
it's that's why First Champs is so cool. Like, yeah, there's just so many good teams from all over the world. It was great seeing the fantastic teams from across Canada, across the US, from Israel. We saw fantastic robots from Turkey, from the Netherlands. I saw Team 4481 from the Netherlands. Get this, Sally. So it's so expensive to ship their robot from Europe. They designed their robot, and then such that after they play their last event, they take it apart and then they put it in their suitcase to ship it to save money. And then they reassemble it at their hotel, or they find a team local to the championship and say, hey, can we come to your school or your shop? And they reassemble their robot and test it there.
Whoa.
Right?
Wow.
The challenges that teams have to go through to get to a championship.
Yeah. I saw one team online that came from Japan, and I was like, wow. And a team from Asia. I didn't even know First was a thing in Asia, and that was really cool.
Yeah, there was some really strong teams. Team 4253 at the Code Zero, I believe it is, from Taiwan. They were doing fantastic. So it was cool to see. So let's jump down from the slide. And we wanted to take a look at we're going to take a look at one of Beaverworks matches coming up. I know, Brutus, we'll get there, buddy. We want to take a look at another one of the great Canadian matches. So one of the cool things at Championship, Team 1678, the Citrus Circuits, as of this coming into champs, they had been to Einstein 8 championships in a row, won their division 8. Like, that's like 2 full generations of students. Every single one of them wanted their division every single time. Wow. And so they were the number 1 seed in the Galileo division. And their alliance of Team 1678, 3476, and 461 had to play the alliance of Team 1114 Symbotic. Sally, you know them well. You won an event with them this year. 3005 from Texas and 836. So the first time they played was in the upper bracket. The 1114 alliance won the first match. Then they played the first match of the division finals. 1678 wins it. It's 1-1 now. Then they come to the second match of the finals, which we're about to show. So let's watch this match and see what happens here. And then we'll talk about how this finishes. And so This was a really cool one to see. I'm going to get my pen out. Nope, my pen is not working. So we won't do the pen, but we'll take a look at the video. All right, they go in autonomous. And so what's really interesting right away, Sal, you see that 1114 is doing the balance auto. They normally always let pass that off to a partner, but both their
Mm.
partners can do 3 cubes.
Oh my, oh, then the field's empty now.
See, everything was scored in auto. That's how good these teams are. And then just like the pure speed coming across watching these robots go. There's like 6 robots that are playing at an 1114 level. It's just like everyone's flying across the field. No defense. This is what the championship was like. Just
And the
and
amount
if
of
you,
people in the back.
oh
Wow.
yeah, and if you think this is fast, wait till we show Beaverworks' match because their alliance was actually faster than this. That's why they ended up winning the world championship. But and like the score is neck and neck. It is just as close as it can be right here. Oh, and we're still going. We're still going. And like just watch the Red Alliance too, just flying around the field. That Citrus Circuits robot, man. Like just whoosh. There's 84 seconds left, and both top and middle rows are almost done.
Wow. And I have no idea who's gonna win. Their scores are so like
It is increasingly close. Red's just inching out to a little bit of a lead here, but that's just because they've completed their links a little bit early. You can see that we got 5 links going for red, 3 links going for blue. That was an interesting thing. It was so hard to keep up with the scores, and there were teams who were intentionally not completing links to keep their scores low so they could surprise their opponents at the end of the match.
oh, that's an interesting strategy.
Yeah, and you can see like already down in the bottom here, the Blue Alliance has got they've got some scoring going on there.
6 links, 9 links.
Yeah, and they're double scoring in the bottom already. And so like Red Alliance has finished their grid, they got their 9. 28 seconds left. It's like, oh, how is blue gonna catch up? But like, look out, folks. And then we saw a penalty there that could decide it. And blue's coming in, and boom, they're gonna finish their grid and watch their score shoot up. It's gonna jump. They're running out of time to balance, and then they're coming in. One more double cone.
Oh,
Look at that quick balance there. The flip, boom.
whoa. That
And
is
so
really creative.
it looked like red took this one, but then you count the objects and you're like, wait a second. And blue takes it 209 to 205, 5-point penalty swings it. It would have been a 1-point difference. And
Oh,
so
wow.
now the 1114 Alliance has won twice against 1678, but they're 1-1 in the finals. And they played another match. And in that final match, the Citrus Circuits took it out because 3005's drivetrain broke. But that's how close everything was at the championship. So that's what we got to see. And that was just a taste of it. It's going to be even more intense when we take a look at what happened with Beaverworks. But like, how cool was that match, Sally?
I mean, just to think of a match that can be even faster than them, that is crazy. I actually had a question though, Karthik.
Yeah.
I saw at the end of the scoreboard there were 4 teams on each alliance. Could you explain how that works?
So at the championship, so you know how at the local events we have, if a robot on your alliance breaks, you can call a backup bot.
Mhm.
But and the reason, our events are smaller, like we have some events like 30 teams or whatever. But since the championship, the divisions are 70 plus teams, they say, and there's so many great teams, they say, hey, every alliance gets to pick a 4th robot. So they're picking their own backup bot. So they have a robot that they can swap in. And for example, Team 2609 Beaverworks, who we're going to be talking to next, they were the 4th robot on their alliance, but they got swapped in to play a match. So you can swap in based on strategy. You might pick a team with a different auto for a special match. You might pick a team with a different balancing style, or it could just be, oh no, this robot isn't working. Let's swap someone in. So, and then it gets more people to win awards, to be a part of it, to be down there in the action. It's really, really cool.
That's
So
cool.
that's neat how they do that at championship. One other thing I want to talk about championships, we talk so much about the robots and everything, but like championship is just this like hotbed of gracious professionalism. It's just so cool to see teams interacting from all over the world, just going to support each other. And I think the thing that impressed me the most is how all the Canadian teams kind of stick together down there and they're all supporting each other. Uh, when Beaverworks won, all the Canadian teams had already been messaging each other on Slack about trying to coordinate so they could all sing "O Canada" at the same time to them. And all the Canadian teams were supporting each other. It was just a really neat thing. So it's cool. Championship. You should all come sometime. It's a
I
blast.
really want to.
All right. Well, we're going to hear firsthand stories from the championship. We're going to be hearing from Beaverworks next, and then Manitoula Metal. But before we can do any of that, let's take a look at a word from one of our sponsors, Hat.
When I was applying for co-ops, I was really looking for a place that would allow me to have the greatest amount of experience. And since Hatch is such a big company, I knew that I would be able to get involved with all the different groups that the company offers.
What surprised me about working at Hatch was the amount of responsibility that you're given very quickly, like once you start.
There's so many opportunities to learn, not just from specialists in the field, but also from something like Lunch and Learns or even Safety Shares. So it's not something technical that I'm learning, but something that might help me in my everyday life.
For me to be able to just walk into their office and ask them whatever I want, to schedule a meeting whenever I want, to be able to work directly with them on building things was an insanely good experience.
As a student, I am as much valued as the other employees that are here.
I enjoy working here because people are very friendly, and this environment that they created has been more than absolute perfect.
All right, we're back, folks. Just an update for all the hockey fans out there. Leafs game still 0-0 in the first period. Leafs are on the power play currently, I believe. So maybe we'll hear the goal horn go and we'll hear everyone screaming madly. All right, let's bring out our first team from Guelph, Ontario. Come on out, folks, because I want to do this when you're on camera. All right, you're going to hear this a lot from me over the next however many years, but our 2023 champions of the world team 2609, it's Beaverworks. How's it going, crew?
We're awesome. Great.
So first off, how will you all just introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Dominic. I'm the driver.
I'm Aiden. I'm the operator and one of the robot programmers.
Hi, I'm Bente. I'm also one of the programmers.
And I'm Laszlo. I'm the drive coach.
Well, first off, congratulations. It was amazing. So we got to tell everyone the story. So the story starts off, we're going to start in alliance selection. So right away, team 1323, Madtown Robotics, so Sally, we've talked a lot about 2056 and you've seen 2056. Mm-hmm. I think Madtown might actually be better than 2056. They are just flying down the field or whatever. And then they pick team 4414, another California team, High Tide, who is like, well, you folks saw them up close. How fast is High Tide's robot?
Very fast.
Blazing
it's faster than ours.
It is the fastest robot. I'm not kidding, folks. The fastest full-size FRC robot I've ever seen. They were running 12 motors on their drivetrain. Eight propulsion, 4 steering. It was, and they're using the full FOC. And wait till we see this match. They are just zipping around. It was like nothing else. So when that alliance got together, it seems like, oh, well, this alliance has a really, really good chance to win Worlds. But it's like, who else is going to be on that alliance? So then alliance selection happens. And what was going through your minds, folks, while alliance selection was happening?
I was looking out. I was like, seeing the second picks happening. I was seeing like all these awesome teams being chosen. And there's like a 3-second period where I couldn't hear anything. And then every single team captain is just staring right at me. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Because you had just been picked, right?
Yeah, like I couldn't believe it.
What about for those of you who were like in the stands at that time, or?
Well, we were just kind of in disbelief that, oh, we actually got picked by the first alliance where there's a chance we can actually do pretty well.
It is absolutely wild. So were you expecting this at all?
No.
So not necessarily, but we were actually talking with a High Tide at one point in time on the first day of Worlds, and they kind of dropped by our pits, and they actually told us they watched our matches from district championships. So they were scouting ahead of time to see all the teams that were going to be on the field, because we were projected to be, I think, in the upper 20s or something. So they're just kind of looking around that area to
In the
see
zone,
what other
right
teams are
there.
available, and then we seemed to have a lot in common and just had a great time talking with them, and then they ended up picking us, which was awesome.
Yeah, it was that's just like an exhilarating feeling when you realize, oh, we're on that alliance. So what was the, well, I guess before we start that, I think you prepared a couple photos of us, not of us, for us from championships. So maybe let's take a look at these photos, and maybe you want to just tell us what we're looking at, folks.
Yeah, sure. So most of these photos were taken during and after Einstein. We're just gonna need to wait a couple seconds here for the web or the live stream to catch up, just because it's blank on our end.
Okay.
So that right there. So after we won, we ended up giving every one of our alliance members a beaver. So that's the one we gave to Madtown. We got that one crocheted last year from one of our teachers. It has a nice little gold medal, and we figured what better team to give it to than Madtown, the best robot that year. So they got that one, and then we also gave one to High Tide and Control Z, but I did not get a photo with those ones.
Can we talk a little bit? So that looks like an industrial shop. That is High Tide and 1323's pit. That's their mobile pit that they wheel around. Sally, doesn't that just look wild?
Wow. Yeah, I'm just speechless.
So
yeah, they got mini fridges, 3D printers, and everything in there. It's insane.
Yeah, they have fridges in their pit, powered. It's amazing. All right, so let's take those slides down. And Sally, you got a question for Beaverworks?
Yeah, so being a part of Alliance #1, I was wondering, how were you able to help your alliance partners?
So I guess that last photo that was up there, if you can tell, the Madtown robots on a cart with a Canadian flag. So what ended up happening was when Madtown was going onto the field to do their calibration, their robot cart actually lost a wheel. So we ended up volunteering our cart, and we let them use our cart for rolling the robot down to Einstein. And then we kind of had to make our spare robot cart, which ended up being a scooter and the lanyards that we got with our roll pack.
Oh my God.
So that's how we rolled our robot down to Einstein.
So one of the wildest stories I think about your championship journey is not all of your team could stay, right? So you want to tell us that story?
Sure. So we originally
we were not planning to make it to Einstein's. We're gonna say it like that. We weren't planning to go into Einstein's, so unfortunately we had to book our flights a day early for the majority of the team. But once we realized that we had a legitimate chance to make it to Einstein,
we're Alliance 1.
We had to initiate Plan B, which was having me and Aiden stay an extra day in a hotel while the rest of the team went home.
And so where were they when they found out you won?
They were on the plane.
They were on the plane.
Yeah.
They're at the airport when we found out we made it to Einstein's, and we won the Einstein game to bring us to the finals. And then they were on the plane when they figured out that we won Worlds.
That photo so far away.
That is just like the coolest story. I can't imagine being on that plane, especially like when the Wi-Fi stops. It's like, what is happening? Someone tell me what's happening. And then you land and you find out, oh, we're world champions. Like that is the coolest. That is the absolute coolest. I want to know, because you've been to district champs, but Worlds is like a special show. What was it like to walk out onto Einstein?
It was insane, seeing an entire stadium full of just people roaring, cheering, lights flashing everywhere. There's I saw a few Canadian flags out there. I was super pumped to see that. It was just it's an experience I'll never forget, especially the game we were driving in.
Yeah, and speaking of that match, we're going to take a look at that match right now. So this is Einstein, round 4, match number 11. So winner moves on to the Einstein finals. 2609 had not played yet. This was their first time coming into play. And let's take a look at this match. And Sally, you talk about a lot of people. Look at this.
Wow.
And so watch the Red Alliance. My pencil is not here. Red Alliance, especially team, they're in the middle of the field right now, 44-14. Just watch the speed there. Beaverworks, nice balance there in auto, getting the full points. Great job. And 44-14 is flicking flying.
Oh my goodness.
It is. Wait till they get a clean run. It's just, here we go. Oh no, they're picking up that cone. When they do a clean dash, Beaverworks just nicely, calmly going across here, crossing over, and 44-14 is just wild. They had a match. I think they did 14 pieces in teleop. Just, and like, you know, I've watched Beaverworks all year long. You're one of the fastest robots that I had seen in Ontario, and just the speed of 44-14 and 13-23. This is amazing. And then like the lights on Einstein, just the massive crowd. And remember, the crowd isn't just this. It just keeps going and going because there's 8 divisions of people. And High Tide just flowing around. Beaverworks, you're doing your job right there, crossing over the charge station. Notice how the entire alliance is everyone's staying out of their own ways. It's just like so well coordinated, so well coached. RC and JJ and Laszlo, you just did an amazing job back there. This is coming up here, and grid is already full. Grid is over full. Now it looks like we're getting ready to balance. Oh no, still taking time for one more cycle, everyone. Well, in the time that like a normal team does 1 cycle, High Tide does 2. It's I wasn't even kidding. They just did 2 cycles in the time of a normal team cycle. Beaverworks is getting up onto the bridge. And then they're just trying to make room for everyone to balance. And so this one is like, it's getting iffy now. Time's running down here. The bridge looks like a little stuck, but look, both teams come to the other side. They realize, hey, flip to the other side. Let's get on there. High Tide gives you a little bit of a shove to clear some space so the 2 robots can get on. Boom, boom. Beautiful. That's art. That's how you win a championship, folks. So to our friends on Beaverworks, how did it feel when you finally got out there for a match?
Dom, you're the best one to answer this question. You're the one that was getting ready to finally play their first match.
It was super nerve-wracking, as you know, we this is our first match that we're playing, and it's in Einstein's. You know, we didn't play in the Hopper division. We didn't play any of the matches coming up, and this was like the match leading into the finals. We had to like, you know.
Yeah, the upper bracket final. Yeah.
Yeah, it was absolutely insane. And I was just, you know, praying that the auto worked, our sensors worked, our drivetrain worked. I was just praying that everything, you know, worked as it should. And it was a lot of pressure, but I think at the end of the day, we did really well.
You did amazing. You just, especially when you're coming in and you haven't played, and like there was a really good flow that High Tide and Madtown had. You don't want to mess with that, right? But you just like jumped right in. And we're always in the perfect spot. I loved how you stayed in the center lane and just stayed and just like you never in like it was beautiful. It was a great match. And so that was fantastic. And so then how did you react when you won, when the final score went up there in final 2?
I was with our team. I was with I believe, yeah, like the people who stayed back and didn't go on the plane. And we couldn't believe it. We didn't think it was real. We were jumping up for joy. There was confetti all around us. There was like horns blaring. And it was just so awesome to have that experience. I think you guys can also agree that we could not believe it.
It's incredible. Like, I mean, unfortunately, I was watching from home, but as soon as I saw it on the live stream, like I just was jumping up in joy. I immediately went and messaged my friends who were on the plane at the time, and they sent us back a photo of them all just cheering. And They even mentioned that one of the flight attendants had to just calm them down a little bit. So
That is.
Yeah, we had tons of support from home, from people in our school, from people in our school board. It was awesome.
It was a sight to behold, that's for sure. I know when I came down from the stands to chat with you on Einstein, it was just like, oh, this group is composed, they are ready, they know exactly what's going on. It was beautiful to see. I have had to say that all of Canada was just so proud of you. It was just a magical moment. Speaking to people who were watching from home, people who were watching on site, it was cool to see. It had been 5 years since we'd have a Canadian world champion on the field, and it was very, very good. Congratulations, Beaverworks. I want to know anything else you want to say to the world right now? Any thank yous, anything like that? This is your Academy Awards speech, folks.
Thanks to all the Canadian teams that were there to cheer us on. Every time we'd hear our name get called, even if we weren't playing, you just hear it from the far left side to the far right side. Just every Canadian team just cheering. And then to all the teams that ended up coming to our pits after we won, and just big thanks to everyone that showed up. It was really nice of you.
It was very, very cool. Thank you, Beaverworks. Enjoy the championship tour and enjoy being introduced to champions of the world from now until the end, because that's who you are. No one can ever take that away from you. Congratulations, folks.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, folks, we are going to be back with our next team spotlight on Team 6865 in just a quick moment. All right, that was pretty awesome. I will have to share a little bit of bad news. Florida goal early, 1-0 Florida, but hey, it's okay. The Leafs have got this. It's all going to be good, folks. It's all going to be good. So let's get back to the excitement. Now, folks, I would like to invite out our 2023, one of the 6 championship first Impact Award finalists. It is Team 6865, Manitoulin Metal. Hello, folks. And we have Addie, Alex, Jocelyn, and their mentor, Caroline Black. Welcome, Manitoulin Metal. Congratulations. So I got to start here. You are from, what's the population on the island now? I looked it up. I heard 12,000. What's the population about?
Yeah, it's around 12,000.
An island of 12,000. How many high schools are on the island? 2. And both those high schools now have a first Impact Award finalist, championship finalist.
Yeah.
What is in the water, folks? What are you doing? It's amazing. Like, I'm going to go on my soapbox here for a second, because there's a lot of people that when they talk about the first Impact Award, they're like, oh, that award only goes to teams with money. That award only goes to teams with money. And folks, or that only goes to teams from the big city, or that only goes to teams from the US. You shattered all those stereotypes. For this, it just shattered it. So how did that feel?
Yeah. You want to go into that?
Well, it was really interesting to get to Worlds, because I don't know if we had any expectation of winning, but it was really amazing. I mean, I know this team has the biggest heart, and our community was behind us 100%. And we couldn't believe it at first. There were tears. It was really amazing to see that. And I'm just really proud of our team. And I know we put a lot of time in on and off the field in our off season. We do lots and lots of outreach, and it's probably pretty rare to have a team that has like 100% community support and gets to all the elementary schools in our area. And it's pretty neat.
And so, like, your journey to Houston, it started a few weeks back, because it was a bit of a whirlwind. So you went to the McMaster event, and so you had already won an Engineering Inspiration Award earlier in the season. And then you get to the McMaster event, and you don't actually know if you're going to qualify for provincials, because you were like right around the bubble on points. It was close. It was like, oh, maybe. And then you win the Impact Award at McMaster. And a long trip home. So you stayed down, right?
Yeah, so we had actually planned to stay down just in case. We got special
Yep.
permission from our board to take the extra time to stay
So
down
that's
there.
some of that community support. I'm still here, folks. I'm still here.
Yeah. So yeah, we got the support to do that. We weren't sure. I mean, we had a pretty good shot with our robot. We were right on the edge. But yeah, when I was there at McMaster, and I just remember thinking after the presentation, like these guys have it. I was just so impressed. That was after their presentation. I didn't have much feedback in terms of like constructive things to build on, because I thought they just knocked it out of the park. And I told them that. And the day of the when they were announcing the awards, I just kind of knew it was, I don't know, it was just like I had this feeling. I have my first socks that I wear every time for good luck. And
Of course.
yeah. And one of our media person also had a feeling. So she went across the arena so that if we were announced, she could get our team's reaction on camera. And so that was really cool. We'd never won an award like this. It was kind of like at that point, the biggest moment in our team's history to win the Impact Award at McMaster. And then, yeah, it got us through to provincials, and they weren't sure if they were going to have to present again. And I'm glad they did. And I sadly couldn't stay there with them for provincials. I had to come home. I have a couple small kids here, but I was watching at home during Easter dinner with my family. I might have had my phone out while we were eating our Easter dinner.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
See, yeah, I was wearing my socks that day too. I had
You
to wear
got
my
to.
socks. Yeah. And when they announced it again, I had chills, and my whole family was here at home cheering me on. And so, yeah, like I said, we have so much community support, and it was really amazing.
Well, let's take a look. I think everyone deserves to see this video. It was amazing watching it when it was played in Houston. I was surrounded by Americans and they were just like, this is the most Canadian video I've ever seen. I'm like, yeah. And like, I was bragging about y'all. I'm like, you understand that they're like on an island that is hard to get off in the winter, you know? And they're like, really? I'm like, do all Canadians look like that? I'm just like, it's always a blizzard. It's always, just trying to mess with them or whatever. But it was just fantastic. They were so in awe of this. So let's take a look at Team 6865's first Impact Award video.
Hi, I'm Ben, a co-captain on FRC Team 6865 Manitoula Metal. We are excited to show you our roadmap to a sustainable future.
When I come to robotics, I'm thinking of how we can take existing technologies and make our own practices more efficient.
When I come to robotics, I'm thinking of our community partnerships like Marriage to Experience that help restore beautiful aquatic ecosystems.
When I think of robotics, I think of inspiring the next generation of environmental STEM.
When I come to robotics, I'm thinking of tree planting at our environmental STEM conference and teaching other first participants about carbon neutrality.
When I come to robotics, I'm thinking of giving back to the community that supports us, from young kids to businesses and adults.
When I come to robotics, I think of the bags of litter we pick up during our shoreline cleanups in our communities.
I'm coming to robotics. I'm thinking of how we can put our sustainable mindset into action by designing and building our robot, including recycled parts and minimize waste.
When I come to robotics, I'm thinking of using design and innovation to reduce the spread of invasive species in the waters around our home.
When I come to robotics, I'm thinking of how Manitoba Metal has helped shape my future and my post-secondary school students, just like our alumni mentors.
When I come to robotics, I'm thinking of our design challenges that promote innovation and green technology in kindergarten classes to grade 12.
We're building a roadmap to a sustainable future for our beautiful home and beyond.
It gets me every time. That video gets me every time. Sally, do you got a question for the team?
Oh yeah. So what specific things did your team do to earn this award?
Yeah, so our team has done quite a bit. We're quite small, so that video has most of our team members in it, actually. But we work really hard to do what we can with what we have. And so that includes a lot of different things. So we've done a lot of work within the FIRST community with environmental practices. And so one thing that was really noted about us is that we really try and incorporate our environmental practices into all aspects of our team. So that goes, from design and build, where we machine parts from recycled materials, we take things from old robots, and we try and locally source machines or parts. And then along with that, we also do all kinds of outreach with the environmental lens. So we have some beekeepers on our team, we do battery drives, e-waste drives, tree planting. And then we also work in the FIRST community, and we're trying really hard to work with the culture of FIRST and how we can move forward in a climate change world. So one thing that we've done is we created a carbon calculator for any team to use, and it just basically gives you, you put in all the sources of carbon, so like lights in your shop or batteries that you charge. And it's pretty straightforward. And then any team can use it. And we've created algorithms that'll tell you exactly how many tons of carbon each source has, and then it'll total it for you. And then it'll tell you exactly how much your carbon emission was for the season. And so with that, you can either buy offsets or do things that will offset it. But yeah, so we've done quite a bit in the area, in the environmental area, but also just within our own community, and really trying to reach out to, local elementary schools here, get into smaller schools that don't have a lot of access to STEM. And we've been working with 6 elementary schools on the island across 121 kilometers. We are on an island, but it's pretty big. So yeah, yeah.
That is just a fantastic assortment of things there. Hey, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask the question. I need someone to tell me more about what you're doing to help curb invasive species, because invasive species is something I've always been really fascinated by, and what we can do to improve that. So I'd love to hear more about that.
Yeah, sure. So actually we did, so we do design challenges with the schools in our area. And one of the ones that we did most recently, so we're on an island, right? Invasive species in the water is a big topic here. And so especially invasive species being brought in on the hull of boats.
Right.
And
zebra
so,
mussels.
Yeah, like zebra mussels. And I can remember a time where, the lake nearby didn't have any zebra mussels. And so we work with, kids from K to grade 8 to grade 12. And we ask them to design a solution. And sometimes you get, like a shovel from a kindergarten, which is really cool, but you also get a fully functioning or a fully fleshed out design for a robot that would remove species off the hull of boats. And it's something our own team has been prototyping, but all the way through all the grades on Manitoulin, which has been pretty awesome.
That is fantastic. So Addie and Alexandra, what was your highlight of championship? Anything that you saw that you was just like, wow, this is the coolest?
My highlight would have to be like just the amount of people that were in that building. Like that building could fit the island population so many times over. And it was just so shocking to me because I'm never in places like that. And just seeing everyone so passionate about this one thing, and we're all in this huge building together, it was really touching for me.
What about you, Addie?
Yeah, I was, one thing that really stood out to me was the teamwork between different teams. I'm so used to sports and the competitiveness that comes with it, but with like the pit teams and everybody there, everybody was willing to lend a helping hand if you needed it. It was really wonderful to see.
It's pretty special. Hey, and speaking of support, Caroline touched on it earlier, but I heard you had like the entire island cheering you on. So tell us a little bit about some of the community support you all had.
Yeah, Alex, you want to speak to that?
Yeah, for sure. So when we got back from provincials, we had about a week to fundraise $50,000. And so that was a pretty big number for us. And our community was just so amazing in how they came together to send us to Worlds. And like we set up a GoFundMe, and with each donation coming in, I was just like, it was so shocking and overwhelming just to see how everyone bands together to support us. And it felt really good making them proud at Worlds just because of how much effort they put into our team.
Make them proud is you went above and beyond that. So you know, I know you understand the gravity of this award, but so I just want you to think about how big this award is. So the first Impact Award, formerly the Chairman's Award, is the highest honor in first. You know, there's a group of teams who are in the first Hall of Fame. I mentored one back in the day. That's why I wore my pin here today. As the Hall of Fame's like the kind of keepers of this sort of thing. And there's there were teams competing for the Impact Award at championship who had won regional or district chairmans 10 times, you know, just year after year. And you broke through in your first time. It is so impressive. And it's testament to your uniqueness. You know, like all these teams were doing great things. Let's remember that. There is like every one of them that was presented down there is amazing and awesome. But you all stood out to the judges. And I think I'm not, you know, I wasn't in the room, so I don't exactly know why, but I have an inkling. Because you were unabashedly you. You know, you played up to your strengths and you're like, this is who we are. This is what we focus on. This is what we're good at. And that's kind of like inspiring, not just on a first level, but just on a human level that, hey, I'm just going to be the best version of myself and show that to the world and see what happens. And you did that to the judges in Hamilton, and it advanced you to provincials. You did that to the judges at provincials and advanced you to the world. You did that to the judges at Worlds, and they said, hey, you're going to be one of the 6 finalists, you know, up there with teams like the creators of the Everybot were one of the teams there it was unabashedly them in their own way. But like, it's not about like levels and whatever. It's just about you were the best versions of yourself that you could be. And I'm just in awe of that. And so I'm just so incredibly honored to be here on a panel with all of you because you all are the real stars. So I just want to say congratulations on all of that. It's a huge deal, and I can't wait to see how you're going to continue to clean the water and get carbon calculators out there and grow first and do all the amazing things that you can. It's fabulous. So just wanted to throw that out there for you. Before we go, anything you would like to say? Like, it's your Academy Awards speech, as I like to call it. Anyone you want to thank? Anything you want to shout outs to anyone?
Yeah, so we have had an overwhelming amount of support this year from so many people. And, you know, it comes from every level of our competition. We wanted to shout out a few teams. First, 5672 in Wiki. They're our mentor team, and they're amazing. And they were Impact finalists at Worlds before as well. And so we're really grateful for them for all of their help over the years. Also 1305, 4039, which was Makeshift Robotics, who actually lent us their shop before provincials so we could do some more robot testing. 4069, who lent us their programmer so we could get our auto working. And yeah, so, and 1325, who let us use their bus. So many really amazing teams, and you just thinking about it, so many really amazing mentors and students and people just willing to really lift up that competition spirit. And along with that, just our amazing, beautiful community of Manitoulin Island for the outpour of support. And it's every elementary school and every student and every, you know, person talking about us, excited for us. I actually got to go out and do some of the pitches to our town councils, and they were nothing but supportive and really, really just wanting to get us there and wanting to watch us and cheer for us. And so we are so grateful for our community, and we would not be here at all without everyone in our community. We're so thankful. So thank you.
That's beautiful. Just congratulations again. It was a fabulous season, and just honored to have another Canadian Impact Award finalist and have you all on the show. So thank you so much, and keep keep being yourselves and keep doing you, and great things are gonna follow. I know it. All right, folks, that brings us to the end of the show and the end of another season of First Canada Live. Sally, it's over.
I can't believe it.
It's been a great season. Sally, what was your highlight of the year? Anything, whether it be First Canada Live, anything at all.
My highlights. Well, First Canada Live is obviously one of them. Just getting to see. So I mean, just getting to meet Manitoulin Metals and Beaverworks online, and just going to provincials for the first time was my highlight.
Yeah, for me, I think it's just you just see what the teams are doing in their communities and with their robots. And I think of the moments of just seeing the energy in the audience and how people are just coming together for robots. I'll never forget at the Humber event, Team 7712 Umoja, seeing their fans just screaming wildly for the team and just like that level of spirit. And then a provincials, just like all the energy in the building. And it was our teams are just impressive. It's really cool. And so, for all of you out there, it's been a great season. I know you've been up to amazing things. But the journey doesn't end. Many of you are coming back next year. I can't wait to see you all come up with all the reinvigorated passion you have for robots and what you're doing. And for those of you who are graduating, it's not over. First is always going to be here for you. So whether you want to be involved when you're in university or whether you want to take some time off, this program is going to be here for you. And it's really cool. I know I took bunch of years off when I was in university just to focus on school and focus on being an undergrad and living that life or whatever. And then first was still here. So just thank you to everyone who's made this season the best one yet. But guess what, folks? 2024 is going to be even better. So it's going to be super, super special. Can't wait to see you all then, or maybe even before at the STEMathon or the Youth Summit or somewhere along the way. Folks, thank you for tuning in to First Canada Live this season. It's been great that you've let us into your homes or your streaming devices on Tuesday nights. It's been a blast and can't wait to see you all again in the fall. So good night, everyone.